Alright, so we're back on the F100, the white and blue one, as you can see behind me. And we're working on the bed today. So as you can see, there's a lot of work that needs to be done on this bed. This was originally a long bed, and my brother did probably 95% of the work on this thing. So you can see where the bed had to get two sections cut out of it, the long bed. So that's the basic work on the bed side. And then he actually did the, he had to cut the frame. You can't really see it from here, but he had to cut the frame and section that out too, which he's already done, welded it all back together. And then he also put the Crown Vic front end in it. I can't remember what year he used, but pulled the suspension off of Crown Vic. And I mean, you can see it's got the disc brakes in there and everything. So it's the full suspension. Steering rack, I believe that he did get connected up and everything, you can see right there. And then we just have to fab up some custom motor mounts right there off of these guys here, this one and this one. And then we've got the OG 289 that came out of it. It wasn't the original engine. I think we looked at the code and stuff, it came out of like a 67 Mustang, I think. But it's just a basic 289. Not too strong, not too weak. It gets it around good enough. And it's a 3-speed on the column. And then we can start looking at getting these all welded up, because even on the inside it's not, I mean, it's been prepped, but I mean the whole thing just needs to be welded. And Christopher did all these welds here. He's better than me, but I mean, we're both still learning. It is what it is, I'm not gonna lie. And we're having trouble, as you can see, like right there, we get the blow through, and it's hard to kind of get it, you know, when you're kind of weaving your way down, it just wants to blow through. But it's the same way on the other side. You know, just the two, I guess, I mean 3 sections that need to be welded all together on the inside, and I have the brace across, so when I lift it, I'm going to lift it, try and lift it with the engine hoist over there, so I can actually get access under to do some cutting and grinding and get that squared away. Once I get all that set up and everything, I'll get back with you guys. We have to get the bed mounted to the frame and then finish the welding on it. I mean, the whole thing needs welded, so that side there, this side here needs to be finished. And we've got some bowing kind of in. I don't know if you can see it, but it kind of goes like in that way and then tilt back out like that. So it's bowed in, I assume, from the heat of the welder, but we have to do the inside. That line there, I don't know if you can see this one here. You can see that line going up here under the cardboard. But the bed doesn't sit perfectly on the frame. I believe this right here is one of the culprits. There's 2 of those, you can see the other one there. Same thing on the other side. So I feel I need to get rid of those. They don't really support anything right now, they're just kind of in the way. So I can yank those off with the impact. And then the suspension I've been messing with, because this shackle here was sitting vertical, if that makes sense. So this piece here was just straight up and down, like, you know, like that, as opposed to tilted forward like it is now, which lowers the truck, but it comes in contact with this piece up here, this little cross brace, which appears to be I think that's a factory indent there. I'm not too sure, but I think it is. So I believe it was designed to kind of sit a little high, but this one sits just above the frame, just above the frame. I mean, you can barely tell. But the one on this side is just slightly lower, and it's just barely missing that cross brace here. So I'm not exactly sure why they're off. I'm guessing it's got something to do with those shocks there, you can see. So I may pull those off and just see kind of how it sits, if it changes the ride height or the, you know, the position of those shackles at all. But I need to get those off, those pieces I'd mentioned first, these here. Get these off and then kind of lower the bed back down and see if it sits any different, any better, any worse, because I think these will become an issue as well. They hit this cross piece and don't allow it to sit flat on the frame. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna kind of grind these down and then weld them you know, weld it in and grind it flat, or just weld on the back side here. You know, just weld that up right there and call it good. And they're rivets, which is really weird. Kind of like these here, they're not bolts, if you will, they're just like rivets. So you can see down here, it's not like a bolt I can, you know, pull off or anything. So that's where the grinding and the welding comes in, but that's what I'm going to be working on today, is just trying to get this bed finished up. We need to get the damn thing mounted to the frame, welded up, you know, so I can actually start doing some body work on it. But that's where we're at today. Once I get things set up and get them kind of knocked down a little bit, I'll tell you what's going on. Alright, so I'll show you me pulling one of these mounts off. It's pretty easy, relatively straightforward. Just the impact on this side and then a wrench on the back. 9/16. Alright, one down, one to go. Alright, so that's pretty much it for those little mounts, or whatever those things were. And then I'm going to hit that little rivet with the grinder. That's going to be that, this guy right here. Alright guys, so we got those little mounts knocked off as you guys saw me do before. Bang, bang. And then I got that one ground down. That little rivet we talked about is gone. So now it's time to lower the bed and kind of see where she sits here. She's coming down. Everything looks good. My little screwdriver is off in the front so that the bed needs to come forward. Okay. That one should still be in. Yeah, that needs to come forward. So they're both lined up now. Both of my screwdrivers in the front is what I'm talking about, that go through the existing bolt holes, which are about the only two I can really use that still line up. So that gives me somewhat of a guide as to where this bed needs to be exactly, if you will. So see, we're not hitting back there. Let's see if I can get a little closer. Yeah, you see that top rivet right there, it's just the one is not hitting. And I assume it's the same way on the other side still, but we'll double check because you never know. Yeah, we're still good over there. I think that shackle's hitting though. It's not holding it up really off the frame, which is interesting, but that's sitting there nice. That's sitting nice. That's sitting nice. Just want to double check the rest of these little frame resting points here, like that one, that one. There should be two more. The one up front looks good, and that one looks good. So I think it's sitting relatively pretty much where it needs to be. The truck is sitting higher after that suspension settled and kind of readjusted itself. That bed is definitely tweaked, but I think it's got more to do with the suspension than the actual bed. Because I mean, just looking at the frame right there, those two frame rails, I can tell the one on the left is higher. Those two L pieces you can see like this here, Then the one on that side right there. We can double check with my tape measure just in case, but I'm almost positive that's the case. I think that suspension's gonna have to get, I'm guessing it's those shocks, honestly. Let's see where we're sitting here. Pretty close to 20 on that one. You probably can't see it, but that's where it's at. Yeah, and this one's sitting close to 21 and a half. You can't really see it either, but take my word for it. And it's just over 21. This one's just at 20. So something's definitely up. Well, I believe it's got to do with those shocks under there, because we lowered the truck, flipped the axle. You can see the new mounting brackets there, where you can see the axle's actually sitting on top of the leaf springs. But we didn't do anything with the shocks, so I'm pretty sure the shocks are the culprit. So I just need to bust those loose, and then we can see kind of if it settles a bit. I'm just thinking of the best way to do that. So once I get that set up, I'll be back with you guys.